they have to overcome that right now, because if we're going just based off of how things are looking, Shib, the favorites are winning, and it's maybe going to look like that's not going to be changed today if 100 Thieves beat out Dreamland.
Yeah, it gets to the conversation of, you're right, we're past the best of 3, right? As we're heading to best of 5, you need to be far more versatile in your composition, and you need to be willing to adapt. And if you cannot adapt, it will show. Teams are able to squeak out some of these wins, as we just saw Sentinels take one there. But even so, Envy then bounced back, figured out the solution, and looked much better in the next coming games as we pushed towards domination and took that home. So now we're going to be glancing over at map 1, 100 Thieves versus Dreamland. Again, this is going to be setting the pace. Can Dreamland step up now? And if they can show up in this moment, maybe they'll ride that momentum through and take this upset through, or will 100 Thieves do what is likely expected of them and push through early on against Dreamland?
Yeah, early bans of the Mantis coming out. That's honestly sort of phased out, I feel like, these days, at least from the teams we just saw. But both teams prioritizing that. We also have the Emma ban on Dreamland, respect a little bit over to TTK on that hero, and then the Jeff Protect. And this could maybe look like something we saw in the last series, Shib, if 100 Thieves deal with that Jeff well. But if we also look back at the group stage, Shib, as they ban out Jeff, ban out Luna Snow on 100 Thieves side, we didn't see that today at all. Dreamland and Rad, every team that wasn't Envy and FlyQuest lost pretty bad. Like, it was sort of miserable, unfortunately, for them. Rad going 4-5 map-wise in the group stages, Dreamland going 4-6. Those were battles, right? Even against Odyssey, a team that's now out of the tournament, they put up a good fight versus Dreamland. And maybe 100 Thieves in the similar case where they sort of sometimes play down their competition. However, across the other side on Group B, it was more even, right? Team Nemesis went 5-5. Sentinels going 6-6 map-wise. And then 100 Thieves going out 9-4. Right? So if we're looking at it like dominance wise, 100 Thieves did very, very well in their group, and we'll see if they can maintain it moving forward as they get to hold on to that Emma Frost or Dreamland get to hold on the Emma Frost this time around.
Yeah, the lock-in here. You're going to have that Magneto and the Ultron for the side of 100 Thieves, whereas Emma and Jeff will be locked in here on the side of Dreamland. A very different very different composition going to be run, so we will not see. And that's another beauty here of these ban phases. You don't typically see exact matches, and things are very different, and it's all about who came out on top in that ban phase and who can outperform, maybe in a situation that doesn't favor you. As we see, Jibori is going to be on that Rocket Raccoon off the rip. Might just be for packs. We'll see shortly as we head to Celestial Husk Domination. Again, you talk about domination being very much a mode that can be won by anyone, despite, if you struggle. It's all about those team fights and staying consistent, getting a successful portal if available, and making sure you don't overcommit ultimates, which has been the biggest flaw of some of these teams that have been knocked out so far. Just a little bit too much of an overcommitment that forces you to lose the next fight.
And you brought up earlier it's best out of 5, right? That'll be a big thing moving forward. And you mentioned domination too being a big one on Celestial Husk specifically, and then also on domination in general. I mean, I don't want to scare Dreamland fans, but they've had a rough go at it, right? If we take back look at the group stages again, I mean, they've lost domination to all of the teams that are out of the tournament, Shib. They lost domination to Fire Strays, they lost domination to Odyssey, and they've had to reverse sweep on best out of 3. So it's a little bit scary for Dreamland because 100 Thieves are also very good at domination. The only team they lost to is Sentinels, who look to be a pretty solid team in domination as well, just losing to Envy, who was another top team. We'll see how this bodes, but hopefully for Dreamland's sake, they can maybe get some value out of this Jeff combination with Chime, and Sneakers also getting Phoenix.
As we'll start up now, Vinny is going to be there on Venom. Venom does a great job of stalling this point with that middle segment, so Chuckles will be doing the same. This is a very strong Venom map, and Venom will be seeing a little bit of a buff coming up here in the next patch with some of that anti-heal potential out of the Feast of the Abyss Ultimate. 30% of anti-healing in there. Going to force those cooldowns out. Vinny just looking at the strategist line, biding some time and space, and almost getting the point there. Good touch from the side of Dreamland to hold on, but again, nobody falling as both the Venoms are just doing a dance here, trying to make the teams look at each other. Valentina gonna find that pick on a Terra early. Chime onto Millennia, and now they're looking up and potentially taking this point, as the point is heavily looking in 100 Thieves' favor so far. Mace, though, gonna find Vinny. Keep it going as Chuckles takes out TTK, and they will get this point.
Yeah, huge start in these neutrals. I think Dreamland are doing a good job collapsing, and also Mace shutting down that point, making sure TTK is never in a good spot. Ultimate's built up for 100 Thieves now. They switched Terra over to the Star-Lord. We saw Star-Lord permaban in the last series. So now we get to see him back on the Star-Lord, but in this traditional 2-2-2 style, both teams are actually not playing that, rather, with Dreamland on that Jeff. And we'll see in this upcoming fight how they do with this Jeff. Is it going to get countered? This is Jeff. It doesn't even matter. Jibbery starts it off with Millennia going down.
That's a good start again for the side of Dreamland with an early pick there. Shows just casing the power of Rocket, which, you know, in that ultimate, which is not only strong now, will be getting a 20% increase in damage in the next match while still maintaining that health. For those who do remember, early seasons, Rocket only had a damage boosting ultimate. It did not heal you, and that has been recently changed, and now the numbers of that damage boost are going back to the original state. So big buff here for Rocket, and the nerf to Phoenix will put him in a better spot. So likely we'll see more play of Rocket coming up here in ladder, and although he's definitely playing ladder and in this level of play. As we start off once more, Terra going to start with the Galactic Legend. That is very close there on Mace, who was able to hold on, but Terra finds Valentina now. 100 Thieves trying to walk forward up a number. Out we go with the It's Jeff from Chime. Does that find value? Chime is very low. Terra going to spin, but will it be enough damage? It is not for the moment. The spit goes out, and nobody falls there. Millennia going to bring out the dance floor. Mace trying to hold on, but not for long as TTK gets that pick. But 70% here for Dreamland early on is a huge number in the first set of fights.
And they lose Gibbery, who does res Mace at the very least, right? So Mace back in the fight to stall it out. Ult's committed. Mace actually finds one. Sneakers are onto another. And even through this invisible boundary of Harvey, 2 are down.
And we're starting again, Chime on this position. It looks like the team is together here right now, as you can see from the player cam on the bottom right. Up we go. Ensong bang, lands in, does not find a pick. Mace gonna find Delena, chuckles onto Harvey, and again Dreamland are looking lights out at 96%. Can they take this and set the pace early on, or will this portal come through? It does. CTK on point with portal. Delena gonna res back up, but will they be able to bring the team up? He might. No, the whole team and does not allow that to happen as Stinkers gets that pick. And again, Dreamland are playing lights out, keeping this momentum. Going to use this Sia to just have that damage boost, and that is some great animation cancel there by Stinkers. Down goes everyone, and it looks like Dreamland may be able to do this right now, unless Chuckles on the side of Dreamland, it will hold on, and that is map 1 Dreamland against 100 Thieves.
We heard the fan base of Dreamland say, don't give Mace the Emma Frost. And, well, at the current moment, we're seeing why. These neutrals. Dreamland has looked so impressive. Some of the most impressive games we've seen in the neutrals, right? In terms of ultimates, 100 Thieves had pretty much the pick of the litter, right? They could do whatever they want. And that was brutal. I mean, the dives coming out from Dreamland on these flank angles. Thinkers is doing so much. He's leveled up. 9,000 damage from him on the Phoenix. No eliminations. I mean, this was beautiful from Dreamland. If they can keep that pace up, 100 Thieves are going to be, you know, back against the wall at the current moment and are going to have to come back. They're mixing it up, though, Shiv. They're putting Delena onto that Adam Warlock. They're having Terra still play that Star-Lord. So maybe with this more front-to-back style they can pan out. This is always where 100 Thieves is best, is when they can sort of play front-to-back style and just rely on good support play to stay alive. We'll see if they can actually capitalize off of Dreamland to make this dive comp look beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of good neutral play there as the kidnap is being set up. That is why these walls will be prematurely set, and they're looking for anyone potentially in the back line. And again, you click that button and it's almost instantaneous. Team gonna fully commit through it instead. Come in heavy now. Stinkers with the walls up, trying to find a pick. Still not able to do so, but yes, they do now as TTK goes down. And again, Emma does great in those neutral battles there. Out goes the It's Jeff, and that finds one onto Millennia. Potentially off mapping here is Chime, as it is a flyer, so you likely have to commit with it unless it's fast enough, which it is fast enough from Chime onto Millennia, and that is another pick. Dreamland looking awoken now and absolutely popping off here in these fights. We go with the Sonic Seduction.
Oh, and Delena had to drop 2 for it. Sorry, Shib, as they start the fight off. Mace is doing so much.
Absolutely. Do not worry, my friend. Again, Dreamland is just looking so good together. These neutrals are wild. Held on to ults there. Valentina committed the boundary during those fights, and that is the advantage to holding on to those ults, and that is the patience, the understanding of play in that first map to not overcommit. Just use Gibbery's ult, just use that Sia to ensure you win the fight and hold on to something for your strategist. And even if you lose a few, as long as you win the point, it doesn't matter, and you can win this guaranteed first fight. Already 20% on, holding them near spawn. Try to buy time, and this could be a huge strangling prison opportunity or eye from Chuckles or Stinkers. Gibbery is holding on to the Sia as well. There's that strangling prison. Can they commit? Out goes the Sia. Terra finds Stinkers though and is making that switch onto the storied Bucky that he can play.
And they're sort of living right constantly at the moment. They go for the pick. Oh my goodness. Terra, 3 in that fight with the Kraken impact. Might as well make it 4 with the follow-up. Beautiful job from him. In Dreamland, off of those, it was very interesting shit with the pickoff. I mean, they're going the triple comp that we would usually see on like a convoy map, making 100 Thieves sort of react in a bit of an uncomfortable way.
Yeah, agreed. It has been successful so far. We are now going to see that Wolverine come out to help shut down Vinny. And that is, again, a very strong pick into Groot, similar to something like Angela on certain maps that does find success with those pulls onto large-bodied vanguards. And again, Valentina will have that ult ready. Gibbery and Valentina have been rotating very well. She will likely use it to counteract something like Delena if need be, who is holding onto that Endsong Inferno, but that damage boost combination is available there with Millennia. Good pick there by Delena onto Chime, and that's a great opening to this fight, but that res comes through from Gibbery, so the numbers are still even. There is that heal. The dance will out from Millennia, likely the damage boost combination coming in shortly. Will it land? It looks like they're not able to make that happen as Delena is forced into this off angle in building. Ton of damage goes out as May starts off with the Sonic Seduction, gets one walking, and that's going to be Vinny. Will they be able to collapse? They cannot at the moment. Valentina finds a pick onto Delena in the off angle in that neutral. Harvey is going to bring back Delena, though, so the numbers are still holding on, and 100 Thieves now are up at 60%. Will they be able to maintain? And out we go again with the impact and the Endsong Inferno. The Sia's double are both launched at the same time, but that gets deleted immediately. Vinny gonna find Valentina, and the picks are again going in the favor of 100 Thieves, who are looking more locked in right now than on map 1.
Yeah, this is looking great. I mean, they're stalling it out. They need to sort of take advantage of their Luna advantage, right? They go for that protect and ban earlier, and you know, a lot of teams have sort of shied away from that. They're fine playing Invisible Woman instead of Luna Snow. 100 Thieves didn't get the combination off, and they lose. Oh, Delena just goes down at the beginning of the fight very, very early. Maybe a bit too aggressive out of him.
Yeah, that's the tricky bit of pushing forward a little too much, playing a little, you know, maybe a little cocky in that moment. The touch does come through here, and numbers are now going to be in the advantage of Dreamland alts as well. This is their fight to lose. Will they be able to make it happen? Meteor M available. Last stand available here. The tackle goes out right towards the back line. TTK in a dangerous position now. Going to force out cooldowns. Will they be able to hold on? No. Chuckle's going to take out TTK. Terra going to find Gibbery. Harvey going to bring back TTK, so that pick does not find too much value. Dance Floor is out to shut that down. Vinny going to find Stinkers there to trade that right back. And again, 100 Thieves are going to find even more. This should be theirs. They bring it back to map 3, and they do.
Huge chipped up from 100 Thieves, and you know, they didn't panic. That's the terrifying part, is that Dreamland wins Celestial Vault, then onto Celestial Hand. They get you with a cheese play, get 50% on the board, but they stayed steady. They came back, and they put Delena over to Phoenix. That's kind of where Delena shines. I think that Delena is one of the best sort of aimers in the game, raw aim wise. I think that he is seriously insane. And you know, like, he kind of turned it around there on that map. He was a big reason with these pickoffs, these 1v1s with Chime, winning them out. Stinker's now over to the Phoenix instead. Chime back over to the Jeff. That's the change up for Dreamland, but huge round from 100 Thieves, like you said, and they capitalized many times, living as well from Stinkers on the Wolverine. So huge disengages for Dreamland, maybe a bit overzealous in terms of their composition. The Wolverine, I think, is solid, but we haven't seen too many highlight Wolverine plays until, you know, that last series we saw on Convoy. But now 100 Thieves, they're going to have Vinny back on the Groot again, and we know this team can play this front-to-back style to a high level as long as Delena setups on these flanks with the Luna Snowflake.
Yeah, looks like there will be that psionic for the side of Dreamland as we are heading into Codex. Again, a 1-to-1 situation here on domination. And like we said, buddy, we jump in here. The match is getting tight, and it would be a huge trend set here for Dreamland to take home this first map as we do start up once more. A lot of alts available here for 100 Thieves, and just a few available here for Dreamland, as you'll see Delena, Vinny, Terra, and Harvey available on 100 Thieves throughout this fight, whereas Mace, Valentina, and Gibbery potentially Chime to later on in the fight to try to match that back. But this is a very strong Jeff map if you're able to make it happen.
Yeah, the big shift up is putting, like you mentioned, him on the Jeff, but Delena finds him early. Oh, geez, and Stinker's back over to Phoenix at the very least, but it's already starting off in a horrible way for Dreamland, losing their Jeff that early.
It's another one of those very strong group maps where there are those tight lines where you can shut them down with 1 or 2 walls and completely shut off angles from the back line. Harvey going to bring out the Sia. Terra with 1. Do we see more? Make it 2, why don't you? Potentially up in the sky for 3, and that will be 3, as again Terra is going to find multiple with this Kraken impact. Absolutely lights out with this hero and just consistently popping off after that switch.
I don't think we see a lot of teams really just be able to make this 2-2 work so well. And the 100 Thieves is very unique in this sort of style. Maybe only like a VP is another 2-2-2 sort of team sometimes. 100 Thieves, though, they get to take advantage with the putting Deletta on Phoenix, a very aim-centric hero, and then Terra on his Bucky. And we've seen him many times pop off on that hero. But Stinker's going to have to go huge for Dreamland in this neutral yet again.
Chime finding Delena early to trade that back. Could be a good start, but that res comes through from Harvey. Team going to be walked back by the Meteor Ram. That does land directly on Chime's head. Well done by TTK there. Out we go with Stinkers trying to get the animation cancel on the melee. Finding value either way as Harvey goes down. Bang! Make that 2 as Millennia. Now Mace finds Delena. And again onto Vinny. Dreamland going to be taking this point back very early on with only 44% there for 100 Thieves.
Chime's sort of the sacrificial shark in this case, right? Taking the brunt of TTK's ult, one of the stronger ults as well. Tough part with Jeff is that, you know, I think early on people, you know, took advantage of maybe not being practiced enough versus Jeff and the HJF ultimates. Nowadays, people are sort of reacting to it well. We saw that Meteor M come out, but Dreamland, understanding they have the ult advantage, sort of just press forward off of Chime's early pick on the Jeff.
And we'll start once more. Mace taking that space and owning it. 30% on here for Dreamland. Stinker's going to take the off angle, and it is huge right there. The great pop there of the passive on the stacks. The stun goes out, does not land. Mace going to start up here trying to find the Psionic Seduction. There is value in forcing that last second seduction so that you can deal damage while they're still walking. Almost happening there on a TTK, but does not fully pull through. Harvey going to launch out the Sia, trying to get this pull. Stinkers, though, immediately going to find 2, almost 3. Terra going to turn that back, but still a ton of value there, and Stinkers is right back in the fight. So a huge trade here for Dreamland, who are now up in percentage.
Stinkers is nasty. That was incredible, but Mace also collapses on it. And we'll see if Dreamland keeps this up. This has been a big change for them, right? The largest thing for Dreamland, honestly, is the roster construction is great, but Stinkers has really taken a level up in terms of his overall mechanics. He has been grinding the game nonstop, and you can see it.
A very strong player. Once again, Vinny now going to be making that change off the Groot and is going to be running Cap. Trying to be available and ready with that Freedom Charge. Ult advantage heavily up here for Dreamland, who have almost 5 available. Will have 5 in this fight if need be. Chime on an off angle, trying to make a play with Jeff here. Out goes that Sia. Be matched right back. Mace going to find Millennia early on, though, and that is a nice neutral pick, even through some of these ults. And you got Gibbery, using that Sia on the backside of Dreamland, but no one else committing there. Still holding on to Chime, Chuckles, and Mace. And Valentina very close as well, with an early pick there from Valentina onto TTK prior to the Psionic Seduction rolling out, and they're going to commit for more. The portal comes through from Millennia. Will they be able to make this happen now, as there is only 2 available on the strategist line? Delena going to be on the Warlock, Harvey on the Rocket. Not a lot of mainline healing there. Delena finds that pick, though, onto Chime and makes it work, but Chime comes right back from the res. There has been so much value in that BRB in this matchup.
Yeah, but I don't know how, like, Vinny didn't die in the previous fight, and now he's on to Millennia. His you know, ducking and diving around corners, also the change up to Adam Warlock on this map is enabling this squad right now for 100 Thieves as they come back with their backs against the wall, right? That was huge plays from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, this is a crazy composition to have Warlock, Rocket. It was very much for the touch, but now they're kind of locked into that comp, but that res is available for Delena, and it could be huge. But again, this is that conversation we had before of tracking down the Warlock post KO and ensuring that they are in a dangerous position when they do launch that Karmic Revival. Vinny trying to make a play here onto Chime. Chime not quite available with ultimate yet, instead just trying to distract, but Cap is all over the place right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're pressing off that Jeff on his off angle, and he can't stay. Oh, he's down again. Oh my goodness. I mean, Chime has just been hard focused by 100 Thieves as a unit right now, and that's an insane pickoff, right? 83% on the board. Chime has to come back on Jeff. 100 Thieves are building up ultimates, and you know, every single time the HF comes out, TDK is there with the Meteor M. We're 10% away. Dreamlands don't have ults yet either, and they're going to have to survive, build up these ultimates, and maybe panic. Hopefully 100 Thieves don't maybe push them off the point in there for their sake.
Yeah, I like that follow-up. I think 100 Thieves have done a great job ensuring they do not get found by that It's Jeff at all. Either great tracking or great commitment on things like you're saying of TTK with that Meteor M to counteract. Ensure they cannot make that work, and that has been huge for them. Mace, though, gonna find a pick here on a TTK. Try to win this right back as the Sonic Seduction comes out now with the damage boost from the Sia, but the res is out. Everybody back in the fight there once more. Dreamland loses Stinkers. TTK back back in. Terra holding on the point here. Gonna drop back with some good positioning. Try to find Chuckles, who is making that play. Playing hyper aggro with the freedom charge. Terra in a dangerous position, but great cooldown utilization to drop back towards the rocket. And still holding on there from Harvey, who doesn't fall either. Great rotation, but the numbers are evened out. Out we go with Valentina. She's going to be using that invisible boundary. Stinkers find CTK once more. That res will not come through. Oh, it does from the BRB, excuse me, as numbers are even again. Millennia holding on here with the Strange. Goes down from Mace, and that is the power of Emma into these shielding tanks. There is that it's Jeff, and will this one find value? Everybody focus. No, it does not. Terra finds Chime, who goes down again, shutting down the It's Jeff. TTK in a dangerous position once more, does not have cooldowns. Doing Diamond form Emma. Chuckles finds the Lena. Stinkers on a Terra, and they could do this now. Dreamland is going to find TTK. The OT is ticking down, and the stall is out, but Vinny falls, and here comes the portal. Can they maintain position? They do for the moment.
And for the moment, but they don't have Shredded ult, Shib, and the job is done for Dreamland. Map number 1 going their way, and it's a huge one for them, Shib, because of, you know, like we mentioned before, I mean, this is one of their worst map types, at least from the group stages. Moving forward, though, that's a massive win over 100 Thieves. And I think that right now, Shib, this appears to be, you know, nerves potentially for Dreamland, just because they, you know, lost a point to 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves really showing their veterancy, stalling out the objective forever, playing that front to back style so well. TTK bubbling the right person at the right time every single time, but eventually it was too much, and Dreamland overcame their potential deficits.
Yeah, I mean, they looked very good. I do agree. Maybe their on map 2 was a little bit of a struggle, but I mean, that was lights out at the end. Way to bounce back even through a couple portals just due to the nature of it being a super long stall. There's 2 portals back, but again, making it happen. You got 11, 14, and 13 finals. As you can look over with 18, the next closest being 8 there from Delena, who did have to rotate various positions. But again, I think it was just the composition that they struggled with. After the retake there, they were stuck on a Rocket Warlock composition. And these sustained fights that you have, it's just very difficult to press through, especially when you have something like, you know, the Galactic Legend ready there for Star-Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I like that switch up to Star-Lord for Dreamland, but this is going to be a fun series back and forth, right? We'll see what happens with the Emma. You know, I think 100 Thieves like to play a lot of that Emma Frost as well, so, you know, maybe that'll come into question for them. Everybody's draft phase is quite different, right? That sort of dictates the ebb and flow of the game, and it's very hard to actually do because every single team has a different sort of strategy that you need to prepare for. And right now for Dreamland, it appears to be that Jeff, right? Chime, they were prepared for it, but on the opposite side, I don't think they expected Stinkers to do so well on Phoenix. And then, like you mentioned on Star-Lord, the whole team is just also living, too, from this Rocket Raccoon. These BRBs were trying to get found by 100 Thieves. The only real win condition in the last fight, Terra saw. He tried to find the BRB across the map, even got KO'd for it. But eventually, like you mentioned, Shib, it was too much to overcome for 100 Thieves on that first map on Celestial Husk. And it kind of goes back to our old conversations where domination can really go either way. Dreamland, for as, you know, poor as their dominations have been so far, still looked very good versus 100 Thieves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, their composition, their changes, they consistently bounce back. And I do think after the ban phase, Emma running it into double shield is very difficult. Obviously, the second shield comes through when you are on the retake. But at that point, it gives you a heavy advantage on these OT fights when you have Emma on point into 2 shields. Just an absolute bully fest. And you got to see that a few times with some huge Sonic seductions there, too. Essentially launching it off cooldown just due to the nature of being able to get so much free damage. But Stinkers here, 37, only fallen 9 times with 14 finals is absolutely obscene. The most damage in the lobby with 30k and not even having that Mantis boost, instead just raw damage. Star-Lord again, incredibly strong in the current meta. That juke, getting that extra 25 HP is so valuable, and it really helped him just only elevate even farther in this meta.
Yeah, and if we take a look back at the, you know, group stage as well, once again, like this team, I think for 100 Thieves also, you know, in hindsight, also struggled a little bit, right? There were, all the domination maps went to 3-round Shib, except versus Sentinels, who pretty much destroyed them, right? So maybe they also were not that good on domination. Maybe Rad as well, and other teams that Dreamland had to play against were really good at dom. So tough situation, I think, for 100 Thieves. We'll see if they can bounce back on map number 2.
Yeah, we are excited for that matchup, and that will be coming right after this break.
crush. Priceless. Feel presence.
Welcome back, and again, another battle out there as we see Dreamland taking one up here against 100 Thieves. Definitely an underdog story going in their favor so far, but can they keep it up as we move to Yggdrasil's path?
Yeah, I think 100 Thieves is a team that we know can play these 3-3 comps, right? We've seen them in the past do it. And, you know, domination's huge to win for Dreamland, right? Now you go up one map. Now you can take 100 Thieves to a map that they feel comfortable on, but you have the driver's seat, right? You're the underdogs coming into this, at least seeding-wise. 100 Thieves just won their group, so that's a huge win for Dreamland so far to start off the series.
Yeah, again, I mean, both teams struggle a little bit in the domination front, but that is exactly why it was such a battle. But we get to see, as maps are now being more specific to team selection, how teams will stack up into their more favored maps. Again, 100 Thieves selecting Yggdrasil Path, and you talked about that triple composition. Dreamland is definitely going to be running it as well, as at this point, it is considered a must strategy in this current meta, just due to how strong strategists are in the current patch. But yeah, looking forward to seeing the difference in comps and the ban changes. We saw a little bit of that in our last matchup, you know, forcing some weird Vanguard selections, running things like Angela and Cap together, you know, maybe not seen as frequently together. But yes, again, looking at the match here as we head over to our ban phase for game 2.
Oh, buddy, I mean, this is going to be a fun one going into Yggdrasil Path. We know 100 Thieves are good on these type of maps, and Dreamland already banning out that Emma Frost. 100 Thieves not going to even play that. Makes sense. We've seen teams prioritize Emma Frost on this map too today a lot. 100 Thieves, though, do get to play that Doctor Strange. They protect it. We've seen that done by many a team so far in the tournament. We'll see if Dreamland follows suit. At the moment, though, You know, Dreamland in 100 Thieves, this is going to be a super interesting one, Chip, because 100 Thieves, I think, on these sort of convoy maps can be a little bit dicey. Like, it's always, you know, either they completely dominate or it's close as hell, right? Like, there's no flip in either way for 100 Thieves. This team always sort of fights to the level of their competition, which in turn means they tend to play very well versus a lot of the top teams. But can they get there, right? Can they beat Dreamland today is going to be a big story for this squad.
Yeah, the old shine bright or burn out strategy there. I do agree. It's difficult to say they struggle in this mode because you're right. Sometimes they just absolutely roll. It's all about momentum with this team. And this is a team that definitely can play off that momentum. And we have seen them do it at the top level and even some of these championship matches. But yeah, I mean, the lock-in again for Mace is going to be likely that Emma, which I do think Emma got a ton of value in that last matchup. And again, it's the first ban out, but Mantis is now being allowed through. I think the one thing that 100 Thieves is currently working on is they're trying to find their footing with those, you know, that triple strategist composition. And I think that's kind of the fact that that is more of a known fact makes it easier for them to ban out things that they're not too worried about. Like they're able to go through that Mantis later on in the ban phase instead of banning out early.
Make all the difference.
Oh yeah, for sure. Some great points to bring up, Shib. And, you know, 100 Thieves, they are prioritizing, you know, keeping Delena on the Phoenix potentially, as well as they do get to play that, you know, Human Torch on Terra, and we've seen how disgusting he is on that hero. So, you know, we'll see what they want to do on their attacking side. Is more than likely they'll play against that 3-3 composition that we know and love. At least I do. I know a lot of people in the viewership section maybe not as big of fans of it.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I'm curious about we've seen a lot of kind of fall to the wayside of the anti-triple strategy composition where it was more Storm, you know, obviously Punisher taking a little bit of a backseat here in the meta, but Storm with something like Moon Knight is taking a bit of a backseat from these teams. At least it's just a comfort pick. We've seen some of these teams, even Rad, who have a really strong, you know, Moon Knight player that can walk through some of these points. But I'm curious, it seems like people are running more traditional comps and just trying to power through the triple comp instead of like a hard focused counter composition. And as we see here, 100 Thieves, at least what they were floating was more of just a standard comp that you'd run in something like that.
Yeah, I mean, for Dreamland, we'll see what they want to do, right? They have a player who, you know, was pretty much known for one-tricking a character that was infamous in part of the GOATs, right, in Mace. Now over to the Emma Frost, a lot of more main tank flexibility has been Mace in the current esports scene. So at the current moment, 100 Thieves, they already take down Gibbery, going for that dive, like you said, with Vinny already.
Yeah, I mean, that was insanely quick. I believe crystals were still available. They might have been burned instantly, but I don't believe I saw them. Terra is going to get that torch, and that is another one of those very strong picks, and the entire team gets deleted off the rip here. 100 Thieves coming out with a vengeance, taking it early on as the portal will come through right at this ramp for fight 2.
Yeah, 100 Thieves says you gotta do better than that, right? You gotta be able to protect Gibbery. He's the guy that should be able to dodge around, you know, play low-key evasive. At the current moment, sitting above is Terra, understanding where 100 Thieves want to take the fight. Yeah, what do you do about that?
That is a huge pick early on and going to show the power of Torch. Millennia going to find Gibbery again, but it's already 2 numbers down. Make it 3 as Terra finds Shime. TTK onto Chuckles now, and they're keeping this momentum walking. Plenty of time on. Terra onto Valentina, TTK onto Mace, and they will get very close to this point. It's all a matter of can this touch come through from Chuckles to buy enough time for them to stop point 1.
And they need some answers. Here's Stinker is going to be on Phoenix, but shields come out. Can anybody even touch in time? The answer is no. We're heading to second phase. And like you mentioned, Terra has been terrifying on Human Torch. He's consistently been one of the best Torch players, if not the best Torch player in the tournament, just in terms of how many times he's given the hero and how many times he's made the other team pay.
Yeah, and that's the value to working on heroes. Terra was never really known for playing a ton of Torch until stage 2 here, and then getting a ton of value on Torch. Out goes that eye. Great timing there from TTK to try to force that out and get that pick there from the side on the side of Valentina, but that shield comes through to keep Valentina healthy, who is able to retreat backwards. Terra is going to force out that Nova. It is gone. Out we go with the Unsung Inferno here from Delena. Millennia going to bring out the dance floor. Delena finds Mace there after the fact with that wave. Still going to get that pick, even though the damage boost was just a little bit too late there. TTK finds Chuckles and still progressing forward with 4 minutes and 17 on the clock.
And a big change up 100 Thieves have done, which I've liked since the last series, even though they did lose it, is putting Delena more on the Phoenix, right? In these 2-2-2 styles. It's tough because Delena also has a good Phoenix, but you could tell Delena's a lot more comfortable on this hero. Not that he's bad at Ultron necessarily. He also has been a lot better at Ultron as of late, but it's nice to see him on Phoenix. And at the moment, 100 Thieves, they don't have any ults, but in neutral, oh my god, they find Mace.
Wow. And Terra's going to take out Jibbery again. These teams with these 1-2 right now. 100 Thieves just finding these neutral picks almost at every single fight at this point. The momentum is heavily in their favor. You got to get back on Dreamland. You got to reset. You got to come in and find some picks. There is the pick to start this off as Terra goes down. Stinkers going to try to put some damage out on Vinny, who's not able to grapple out. Forces out more cooldowns. So again, Stinkers with some great shots here. Progressing forward, and out goes the Itch Jeff from Chime. And that will find some success here. And potentially off map unless the jump's up. This is a pretty good counter to Jeff if available, unless the speed's too much. He's going to buy more time. The jump is not available, and that is a pick there. Well done on tracking cooldowns from Chime.
Yeah, unfortunately for 100 Thieves, despite their pickoffs in the neutral, mainly Stinkers just able to take down his counterpart, or at least take down Terra in that fight, and that sort of gave him the edge. You need Terra alive in these 2-2-2 styles to win. You can't really ever come back via sustain due to the fact you're not playing a triple stratus composition, and at the moment, Dreamland trying to up the pace, make sure 100 Thieves get some bad ultimates off.
Chuckles setting up for the engagement here. This is a very strong Venom point on defense. Just keep using that wall to your advantage. You always initiate with a wall climb dive and then use your swing to get out. Those who are working on Venom, keep that process in mind. Mace going to be starting now using the Psionic Seduction onto the front line, but the shields are too much to bear here from the side of TTK. Great eat there, not having to commit too many cooldowns. Vinny, though, going to find Chuckles in that fight on the back line and still going to walk forward. Jibbery is getting chased here by a ton.
What?
Does fall from Vinny under with the Feast of the Abyss with using that damage from Ensong Inferno, or that damage from Ensong Inferno. That timing was wild. Really well done in a more coordinated play by 100 Thieves there.
For sure, Vinny's been really playing well this series, even though they lost round number 1. We'll see he's waiting over the top side for the perfect dive. Obviously, waiting out the Stratus ults in the current moment. All ults used from Dreamland side. Last time Chuckles was dealt with by 100 Thieves. Can they deal with him again, as well as Stinkers falls low on the top side angle?
And I love the gaming positions that you see as some of these cams, some of these people smelling the screen, if you will, like I do. When I'm playing the game, you just get so immersed. Your face, yeah, your face is essentially touching the screen. I love it. But here we go on the off angle now. Stinkers trying to make a play again. Eye of Agamotto is launched. Does find one, but it is matched right back with the Itch Jeff. Will they be able to cancel it? They do. Wow. GDK finds Chime. Terra is going to get a pick as well onto Chuckles. TTK. Stinkers finds Millennia. Zelena is taking out Stinkers, and it just so back and forth here. Crystal gets popped by TTK, who's very low in HP, but not enough. The point's still moving forward. May's going to have to touch in a dangerous position, and we are going to see a bond get launched, keeping the side of Dreamland healthy and retaking that position. Well done on the defense here.
Ooh, I thought Delena was going to try to use his ult there, but he wanted to get saved by Harvey. Him going down was kind of big. The stall from Dreamland's been huge. They lose Valentina. Jibbery can maybe build that dance floor, though, because TTK goes down, and Stinkers just holding onto that ult, pressured out the back line of 100 Thieves.
This is an incredible defense right now. A very defensible position, but at this point, 4 minutes and 17 seconds on this attack, and now we're down to a 30-second situation, and you do have TTK already on Strange, so if TTK is one of the last to fall in the fight, there will be no portal play back, so we are in final fight territory. Potentially making a portal play off rip. Looks like they're going to hold on in case that is the case where TTK falls early, but we start up once more.
And this is a traditional 2-2-2 versus 2-2-2 ship. Never would have thought we'd seen the day, but Dreamland forced into it. Can't even take the advantage of running a 3 Stratus composition, and Stinkers finds Terra early.
And out we go with the Psionic Seduction. Now, it is going to find a few walking backwards. The question is, can they get them off point for long enough? 3 seconds. They need to touch now. Will they be able to do? They do. And out goes that eye. It gets canceled by Mace with a huge tackle there to follow up on TTK, who is very low, is able to escape there with some high ground positioning. They're maintaining point right now. Chuckles with an eye, looking at the back line. TTK blocks it and shuts it down. Vinny with a strangling prison gets 3, and it is huge now, as again 100 Thieves are using this momentum, and it looks like they will get this point. What a fight here by 100 Thieves.
You put Vinny back on a Groot, and good things happen. The team deals with those backline flankers. They deal with that Eye of Agamotto coming out soon. Yeah, you shut down TTK's Eye of Agamotto, but then he comes back and helps peel off Dreamland, who are changing things up. They put Chuckles back over to the Groot now instead, and I don't know. I'd be a little scared at the moment as Dreamland is, 100 Thieves, this is kind of their matchup, and for Dreamland, they weren't even taking advantage when they had Chime back on this, onto the Jeffs. So now over to this Bucky. We'll see what Dreamland can do, but for 100 Thieves, they still have Terra on the torch in the sky.
Yeah, I think the idea here is to shut down Vinny a little bit, who, as you had said, is playing very well. That was a massive ultimate for that point. Pretty much guaranteed them the point. Also, TTK doing a good job there, shutting down the Eye and then finding value and turning it right back at him. And here we go now. Out we go with the end song. Delena going to find Chime early, though, and that's going to allow Vinny to walk forward very aggressively, who's at 95 to the next stall. Out goes TTK, who takes out Valentina and Stinkers. Millennia onto Mace. The portal wall comes up. Can they get this here in time? Looks like it will be, and out goes one. The second going to be placed. Will this be enough for them to get the point? We'll find out shortly. They've got a 3-stack on, and was it placed well? It looks like it might have an opening on the right side, but we'll see shortly. It does have an opening. They're able to escape through it with a few at least.
And that's going to matter for sure, but they put Stinkers over to that Wolverine. Mace also starts it off, but Stinkers' passive's already popped. That's going to be huge moving forward as 100 Thieves have Strangling Prison up.
A ton of space bought there did allow them to move forward. I'm surprised they were not able to get any picks, even though half the team was forced out in the spawn door. Delena going to launch here again, playing Bucky, which is normally seen by Terra, and they're willing to switch up. Valentina finds Terra, though, who is in the sky there on the torch. Millennia launching that dance floor, keeping the team up and healthy, but there's nothing left. Ults out for Dreamland as we see the combination. Valentina going to bring out the internal bond. The Strangling Prison holds on. Will they be able to get back here? Everyone falls. OT ticking down. The defensive side of Dreamland holds them before point 3.
Yeah, what a hole from Dreamland. I mean, that second phase of the map shift where they just held for basically 2.5 to 3 minutes kind of won them the series. But towards the end, I mean, you're wondering, okay, why are we seeing that Strangling Prison alongside the Kraken Impact through strategy ults? It's very hard to get those eliminations, but they're relying heavily in that case of Terra living, right? Terra comes down from the sky trying to go for that one shot, but gets shut down by Dreamland with excellent target focus. So they're working themselves back into it. At the current moment, it's not pretty from Dreamland. It's definitely very messy because that's still quite far that 100 Thieves got Shib. But at the moment, this is an absolute just back and forth game between both of these teams.
Yeah, honestly, just some insanely clutch plays there on point 2. I think Dreamland's defensive position on 2 was disgusting until that final fight where TTK gets that pick. It's traded right back after both eyes miss, but down goes your Strange, and then a huge ultimate there from Vinny with a 3-piece onto 2 strategists, and at that point, the fight is over, not even needing to commit that portal to get back as TTK was on that Strange, but now you are going to see the composition they want to run. Delena, we talked about in the past, a very insanely strong hit scan, translates very well to Warlock, who is now seeing place in the meta. So a good transition on somebody who is a duelist main, able to play a strategist well, and just kind of translates it perfectly with that kit.
And it's interesting, 100 Thieves, if we take a look at them right at the roster, picking up Nuck, and, today he's not even playing, right? So it's very interesting to see that Millennia sort of come in as that sub and has been a mainstay of this roster. We'll see if things change, obviously, moving forward, but 100 Thieves obviously very happy with their current setup of their squad.
Yeah, and just for a lore perspective, Millennia was actually a duelist as well and transitioned to trying to learn this role and has been openly admitting that in interviews. So very, very, a strong player in his own right, able to make that switch and still get a ton of value. One pick goes down as Terra falls. Will that be enough? As Stinkers is going to be here on the Wolverine, dealing a ton of damage. That should be a 2-piece now on a TTK. Portal's going to be launched relatively early, and he's just going to try to hold and wait here as the portal will come through on ramp, but it didn't fall too early on the point. Having it be all the way up here as the team falls down is a little rough, but it should still be enough for them to get 3 takes. We'll see shortly.
Yeah, I wonder what the win rate is of 100 Thieves' first fight, triple composition. It doesn't feel like it's very good. Usually they actually get a good fight here on that second point. So we'll see if Dreamland built up enough ultimates to stave off 100 Thieves.
Yeah, 100 Thieves has owned up to not being as comfortable on the triple compositions. I'm curious about Dreamland's take on that for their team. Terra going to find Gibbery early. Valentina going to be taking out Harvey. Numbers evened out in terms of strategists. But as I say that, Millennia going to bring back Harvey instantly with that right back to point. Chime going to try to find this off angle here onto Delena, and that stun is huge. Delena trying to make the play happen. Not quick enough. Chime with some nice damage. But Vinny onto Valentina trades another strategist, both of which are down again. But 100 Thieves and Dreamland are holding on to 4 ultimates. Question is, whose will get more value? We'll find out in this fight.
I mean, how's Millennia just lived that whole time? I mean, this guy is being so sneaky on the Rocket Raccoon, diving, dashing around. Now out of the sky, takes down Terra, though, on the opposite angle. Stinker's huge pull from him.
And we'll start up again. Harvey going to commit the boundary. Delena's res it out. Terra back in the fight now once again. Ult only available for Dreamland on Chime, who does have that end song available. Good focus here through that structure rebuild. That was disgusting. A lot of shots land on a very difficult target to land on. And that Human Torch. Chuckles looking for a play here. Just trying to build that out quickly. Out goes that eye. And it's huge. Onto the front line. Will that be able to collapse? Unfortunately, does not get the Wolverine. Not able to retake down on the low side as that Wolverine could make a big play. And here we go. The end song Inferno. Chime and Stinker is going to take out 2, and now 100 Thieves need to try to retake onto point 3 if they're able. Feast of the Abyss comes out. Chime going to find Millennia, and no strategists are left now. Dreamland are going to shove through point 1, and I'm not sure the touch can come through.
Yeah, it definitely is not. And we're heading to the second phase. So both teams sort of taking a page out of each other's book. I believe 100 Thieves' attack was a little bit quicker, but that was still a huge attack by Dreamland. Stinker's opening it up, shutting down Terra in the sky on Wolverine. We've seen that a lot on Central Park, I feel like. Terra, of all people, usually shuts down those flying characters on the Wolverine. Stinker's today being the hero for Dreamland. But can they keep it up right in the second phase? They do have ult advantage. They got that Eternal Bond ready to go. They can also break Millennia with this ult. But in the second phase of the map, you could put it in a bit of a safer spot. We'll see if he wants to do that or to chuck it out. Maybe use it to buy some eyes for the squad, as Chuckles also has Trailing Prison combination coming up for Dreamland.
Yeah, Dreamland just about a minute behind 100 Thieves on this first point and did a great job defending until overtime here on point 2. The question is, will 100 Thieves be able to do the same thing? Mace going to keep that laser out, deal a ton. Out goes a huge Strangling Prison. Harvey in the back line, make that 2. As Aletta goes down. Gibbery finds CTK. Harvey back in the fight, but at this point, you got to retake and get back to your team. You just fall on point if possible, and that will be the case. Delena trying to make a play here. Valentina tracking that, though. Will Delena be able to get this play? Good positioning here by Valentina. Now Chuckles follows in on Delena. That stagger could be massive. It is. But Terra gets 2 back on the other side on point.
Yeah, what is it? I mean, Millennia's on the height with Vinny and Terra. They're going to try to clutch with a Supernova. I mean, might as well. You found 2 in the neutral somehow. Could make it more.
Wow. Wow, wow. Millennia comes through on the portal, and they are able to hold here as they are now using that portal to retake once more, owning the space, finding 3 in the neutral after Delena just bought a ton of time, honestly, into Chuckles and Valentina. So that was actually, I thought it was going to be a struggle on the super late stagger, but it ended up working out incredibly well for them.
Yeah, good point. Now that they were lacking the healing, and now in this upcoming fight, 100 Thieves have an edge, right? Huge ults used in the last fight. You just need that Supernova to close it out. And right now, I mean, it's looking definitely like don't give Terra Human Torch, because he'll do things like that with his Vanguard and Vinny.
Out goes the eye. Likely a push comes through. No one falls there from the Eye of Agamotto up in the sky. Stinker's just trying to get this all quickly. 75% looking directly at the Torch spinning in the sky. Very difficult to dodge. Torch does fall. Terra goes down. Valentina gets that pick, but the res comes through. Chuckles going to find Harvey. Millennia bringing back Terra. Harvey comes through from Delena. Everyone falls, but everyone right back in the fight with a mean res here as Delena brings back everyone on the team. The question is, can they maintain this position through the struggle? Terra going to find Valentina and turn the numbers around. But out we go with the Galactic Legend from Stinkers, and that's going to burn that Sia quickly. A ton of damage out there, almost finding that pick in the sky. Does find that pick in the sky with Delena, and Chuckle's going to have to drop back once more. And this is such, again, a back and forth fight, but at this point, Dreamland up 1 ultimate. Harvey, as I say, that is going to lock in and have that ult. The invisible boundary as well, and Mace ready with the Psionic in this next fight.
Yeah, last time the Sonic came out from Mace, I believe Terra just sort of waited it out, and they find Mace early while he's popping it. Oh, that could be the nail in the coffin for Dreamland. Losing that ult and Mace back to back. That's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to have another ult advantage fight here for Dreamland, but as I say that, Harvey going to find another neutral pick there onto Chuckles, and that is, again, going to drive them backwards. 30-second territory here, folks. 100 Thieves trying to even the score 1-1. Dreamland going to be ready to retake. Should have enough time for the touch. Ult advantage now back in 100 Thieves' favor, but almost everyone on Dreamland, besides Mace, will be available in this next fight to get all if it is extended. But again, 100 Thieves needs to win it right now while they're up. That Eye of Agamotto goes out, unfortunately, does not find value. Millennia going to bring back Terra, who falls early in that fight. TTK in a dangerous spot. Good dive here by Chuckles. TTK jumps right back to the res, and there's Delena to meet. Really good play there by Delena, and just understanding and positioning to be ready for TTK in that moment. Delena finds Sinker's Chime, finds Millennia. Out they go. Will that get broken? It does not. Vinny gonna find Valentina now, and the numbers are again up for 100 Thieves as Delena brings back everyone who falls. Millennia's in. Terra gonna find Chime, and at this point, it is a dangerous spot for Dreamland. Portal coming in here shortly from Valentina. Can they maintain this position for them?
Yeah, it's looking like Terra alive with Vinny is just too much to overcome. And they're not even playing the Luna Snow, for example, for 100 Thieves. They don't even need it. They just want the invis to pull Chuckles, make sure his life is miserable. They tie it up 1-1. 100 Thieves win on Aegis Path. And Dreamland honestly looks a little bit nervous now, Shib, against the veterans of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, being held on that first corner for that long is tough. Granted, both spawns are very long, and it's all about just picks in the neutral, and we saw so much on both sides. But even in moments where Dreamland had those neutral value picks, like we saw there at the end, Terra would come in heavy and find a few. Vinny doing the same thing with 10 finals, TTK with 10, even Delena with 10, just a ton of picks in these neutral fights. And then these sustained long fights, when you have the res available, we saw massive reses. So again, just a really strong performance by 100 Thieves.
You know, we see them switching off of this Jeff comp. That's the main thing if we want to look at that, Chib. I mean, they ban Protect Jeff, and for what? I mean, the Jeff hasn't done anything this series so far, right? 100 Thieves, even in map 1, we're dealing with it quite well. They had to switch off comps. They switched to the Adam Warlock comp as their answer, and it makes sense, right? They switch to Rocket Raccoon, they switch to Adam Warlock, so they have constant resurrections coming back into the fight, like you said. And it's just so scrappy that Terra, in the middle of these fights, is able to find these pickoffs. Even if they lose one, even if he goes down too far, he knows he can come back quickly because he's playing Human Torch. He can just shift back, you know, go quickly back to that objective and eventually touch. So for 100 Thieves on their tank, they did make it far enough. If Dreamland maybe held them, it'd be a different story. But yeah, I mean, Vinny, huge level up too. He was phenomenal that map.
Yeah, it looks very good. I mean, that combination was insane. I don't think I've ever seen that before, coming in with a feast at the same time of the end song, just chasing down the whole time. It wasn't like a neutral strategist line holding position ultimate. They were running them down, and it ended up working out. That's a huge ult there by Chuckles. A lot of huge Groot clutch ults, but unfortunately for Dreamland, none of which really allow the team to push, and that's no fault on the Vanguard line. It's just more so well played there by 100 Thieves on those reses after big plays. It just consistently bought them time to get back to the point like nothing happened, and all those ults were committed for nothing.
And MVP that map is gonna be Terra on the Human Torch. Shiv, it does feel like we're, you know, time is just a circle, right? A flat circle. It just feels like we're, you know, at the very beginning, we're like, oh my God, Human Torch is broken, and then Human Torch doesn't get prioritized anymore, falls off the meta, sort of, not really, but I mean, kind of triple strategist takes over, and then now we're back, right? Now we're back to Torch being an absolute insane hero that is almost a must ban. So, you know, it does feel like this always happens every single stage. You know, everybody's experimenting in the group stage, but once we're here in the playoffs, teams tend to figure out what's best, and Human Torch reigns supreme yet again with Terra winning that MVP.
Yeah, I think it's just more of a learning curve, right? Initially, you see that triple strategist composition, you think that it by far takes priority, and you maybe let Torch slip through, and teams are saying, you know, we need to run the triple instead. Don't worry about the Torch. And now you're finding out that, you know, Torch in the right hands can just absolutely hawk down these back lines, and before they can even get these ultimates, they're struggling to hold on to each other in those moments. So exactly like you're saying, constant learning circle leading to different changes in these metas, and yeah, I mean, 100 Thieves really popping off there.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can keep it up, right? 100 Thieves, I'm sure their fans are very proud with that performance, because Dreamland is one of those dark horses that you always have to be concerned about, right? I mean, they were one of the top teams coming out of the qualifiers. We know how good they are, especially formerly, a lot of them coming from Team Nightmare. So this squad, they're good, Shib, and you can't really take it easy on them, and especially when you play 2-2-2 against the 100 Thieves, that's like their bread and butter, so that's tough. That's like almost the home territory of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great call out there. That is a comp that they are more than confident on, and they have admitted to not being as confident on that triple backline. It's almost like you need to, exploit that a little bit. But again, we will see what happens as we head into our next match, 1-to-1 series, right after this break.
Forgive me for what I am about to do. I see you. You've been judged. Face the devil. Wrath of the beast. Hellfire. On the hunt. Let the devil out! Ruthlessness is mercy.
Welcome back, everyone, as we head to another insane series. Again, 1-to-1 here. Now, map selection going to be going to Dreamland, Hall of the Djalia, a map that they are 2-0 in. Currently, in 100 Thieves are 2-2. So, can 100 Thieves take this on them and put the series up 2-1? We'll find out shortly.
Yeah, I mean, it's as you mentioned, this is Dreamland's best map, and I think that statistic alone definitely bodes well in their favor. But we also mentioned how Dreamland weren't doing the best on to Domination. Same thing with 100 Thieves, and then, going over to Convoy, we'd assume, okay, maybe Dreamland has a little bit of an edge, but just because of their undefeated streak on that map type. But now we head in versus 100 Thieves versus a map that's good for Dreamland, like you said. And honestly, just based on how the series has gone, I don't know if we can even expect that to really matter, as that maybe the sample size is not large enough.
Touche. I mean, agreed. And it's all about who they go against and, what the compositions were like with the banning phase. So there's so much, into those stats that you can really dive into. So it is tricky. But again, still not losing on the map so far definitely is a confident pick. And it makes sense for on your map to make that selection. I wouldn't have it any other way if I were on that team in that moment. So curious to see what they will run. But, what do you think needs to be changed in terms of bans? You mentioned in, essentially in our break there, talking about that torch was a big problem. That's got to go. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think taking a page out of Sentinel's book is not that bad because, we talked about Envy, winning that series because, the Sentinel's ban phase was, again, it kind of stuck to the same sort of path. And that could definitely not bode well moving forward as we see another prioritization of the Emma Frost ban coming out from Dreamland. I just want them to mix it up a little bit, and I think this is a solid start, keeping Ultron in it. We haven't seen Ultron really be too heavily prioritized for the squad just yet. It's been Jeff, so they've been going ban Jeff, protect Jeff. That hasn't worked out. They're changing it up. That's a good start. The biggest problem, I think, if we take a look back at that Envy series was, I think that Envy, honestly, that was probably the best ban phase you could do, and then they still won, right? Envy did. So really, I think you have to kind of go for specific targets, going for backline, going for vanguards or something, and then if they beat you, all you can really do is tip your hat as the other team kind of just outplayed expectations.
Agreed. I mean, we talk about how important ban phase is, and you can quote unquote lose in the ban phase, but it still comes down to these fights. And if you are more coordinated, and if you are, it's really down to neutral picks, coordination of ultimates, not overcommitting, and combination of ultimates. And if you can do those four things very well, despite the picks and bans, you should come out on top. But very much so, the picks and bans can come into influence and shift those scales just a little bit. But yeah, we are going to see the Mantis, and goodbye there to the Emma again. Same decision there for Dreamland to remove that Emma.
Yeah, and the Mantis has been a constant for 100 Thieves. They go for the Magneto ban this time around, so they're trying to ban out some of the Vanguards in the front line. At least not targeting Vinny's hero pool from what we've seen him on the dive characters at the current moment. Maybe trying to target TTK. We have the Doctor Strange Protect as well, which is unique for this map type. They keep the torch for 100 Thieves too, and that's the worry, is that you get to give the torch to Delena. But on the opposite side, Shiv, you banned out Invisible Woman, you banned out the Mantis, you banned out the Luna Snow, all characters that can sort of protect that torch besides Ultron.
Yeah, agreed. I think Ultron helps. It looks like now, they are going to be able to run. They can have that invis if they need. They banned it out for the side of Dreamland, not allowing that, as Valentina is a very strong invis, but instead likely going to be running that Luna that does escape. Oh no, actually Luna doesn't escape through here too. Very much a strategist line removal here from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They prioritize that Luna for Dreamland's side. They haven't. I mean, they've been playing a ton of it too, so it makes sense at least targeting that. Keeping Phoenix out of the pool too. Stinkers has looked good on that hero. And this would be an interesting switch up too. If they put Stinkers back on that Namor, I mean, that was definitely a sight to behold previously from them. But 100 Thieves, same thing, Shib. If you let Terra play Torch, I think that we kind of know how things go. But anything's possible for Dreamland on their attack as they start there first.
Yeah, the raid boss of a potential snowflake, as well as that team up there with Invis and the shield, is so much to handle on a Torch. It puts a lot of difficulties out there. We've seen teams, over this tournament try to run, that Hulk Namor team up to help a little bit with Torch in the Sky with that auto aim squids, and it's found some success in a counter, but it's very difficult when the double pocket is on the top line. But we did see for a moment there, Millennia was showing the Luna and made the switch to Jeff. Not sure where that's going to end up for him, but that could dictate how much of a raid boss the Torch is in the Sky as we set up here in Hall of Dajalia.
The variation makes sense. You want to give them the Jeff this time around. It's on map number 3. You're at least tied up 1-1. You have some room to experiment. Let's see how good 100 Thieves with that Jeff comp is, potentially, if they want to play it. But the bigger story is they're still giving Terra that Torch at the current moment, and he's going to have to make them pay if 100 Thieves want to win on a map that you talked about earlier is Dreamland's best.
We start up now. Off we go on the high side. Terra, again, that Torch, a huge threat. The whole team looking like they're going to try to play that off-angle height here, but it is being matched at the moment. And yeah, they're kind of just stalled, unable to make that play. The res beacon being set up, the BRB there. Terra going to play right in front of their face, because why not? You can deal a ton of DOT damage in that little location. And Mace is kind of left alone in this moment. They're collapsing heavy. Mace does fall early on. Great focus and retake there by the side of 100 Thieves on that call out. Just really strong communication, but the res comes right back there for Mace.
Yeah, I believe, was that res on the high ground too? I don't know if Damma's up here with them, but okay, that's something we have to watch out for. But we know that these Namor teams love to take this top right angle Shib and set up their Namor.
Yeah, and exactly like we called out, the Namor team up is going to be there to help counteract that a bit. And back we go now here. Vinny going to retake. Millennia is going to be on that Jeff. There is a good off-map location at this point. So Terra will still be, pocketed in the sky there by Harvey, but not as much with the Flake, as the Flake will not be available at this moment, but it is available as a selection later on if need be. Stinkers going to find Harvey early on in this fight, keep this space and own it, as right now Jeff is essentially out and ready, and the shield comes in at perfect timing. Goodbye to Millennia there. Good patience again, holding on near the Hulk, ready for that cooldown.
Yeah, they know the Jeff is the priority though, so they immediately pop the res on that engage. Zelena also finds Gibbery, and with that, actually Stinkers just finds 2-3 tridents to the face of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very strong. Haven't seen it a lot, at least in our matchups here, but Hulk Namor is obscene, and that buys them 0.1 pretty decidedly. 4 minutes 38 on here, but we have seen teams push through 0.1 and then get held up at 0.2, which is, again, very similar to what we saw in Yggdrasil, a defensible position for the defense.
Yeah, Terra's going to go over to Phoenix as well, finding his opportunities not really there, not showing themselves because of the bubbles from the Hulk. Also, the fact that you're against one of the most evasive lineups ever, right? With the Rocket, with the Ultron, with the Jeff. On the right side, too. Right now, 100 Thieves are split. Vinny's trying to at least maybe dislodge this push, but at the moment, Dreamland's actually played this Namor comp very clinical, pretty much to a T.
Yeah, and they're going to keep the pressure on it.
Okay,
with the will. That does not find too much value. A decent idea here from Stinkers, who is going to have that pocket Ultron at all times and just deal a ton of damage to Vinny, who was a problem on that last map, and now is getting heavy focus. Make that 2 as Terra goes down now, making that switch over to Phoenix as discussed. Harvey falls from Chuckles, and Dreamland looking like a team playing very confident on this map. They know what they're doing here, as is indicated by their record.
I think in previous weeks we've seen teams ban out the Hulk, we ban out like Chuckles' hero pool, and yeah, he's definitely one of the better Hulk players in the game at the current moment, alongside Impunity and some of the other names at the top for sure. The current moment, Dreamland sitting up on the high ground though, and they did use some ults in the previous one. 100 Thieves still banking up their own, but they are missing both strat ults and their Jeff ult.
That was insane positioning there by Sneakers to dodge that at that moment. Chime gonna put a ton of damage out here with the Rage of Ultron instead. Keep the team healthy. Good ult there in the end as Mage finds Delena. And again, Dreamland are walking and they have not stopped. 3 minutes on. Very close to point 2 here in the streets phase. And ton of healing out as Jibbery is ready with NHGF if necessary. But at the moment, instead, gonna be looking at Vinny, who will fall.
So Delena's going over to the Luna Snow too, by the way, or has been off of the Adam Warlock. To be honest, I wouldn't mind, as you know, Jibbery just eats up his own teammates for a second. I wouldn't mind if we maybe go back to 2 style, right? Dreamland's backline is not KOable at the current moment. These squids are doing a little bit too much. If we put Delena maybe over to the Bucky or Terra, maybe Melena's over to the Star-Lord, okay? We're going to 2-2-2, but it's the strategist player and the former duelist player that you mentioned going over to it.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen that from this team yet. I can't tell if that is a smart decision or a panic decision in this moment. I guess we'll find out shortly, but already Terra going to find Chime, and great call by you in this switch up in composition as it is clearly working and they are retaking positioning. But again, 3 minutes 30 on point 2 is on point 3, excuse me, is a ton of time. So really good push here by Dreamland, who do have a couple ults available, 3 ready for the side of 100 Thieves.
It sort of builds off of what we mentioned earlier, Shib, where 100 Thieves have mentioned they're still working on their triple compositions. And at the moment, you know, their solution to not being the best team at triple solo duelist is just go back over to it. And the name, oh my God, early pick from Stinkers.
We go with TTK with that Eye of Agamotto. He's going to break that Sia quickly. Terra going to find Chuckles, though, and raw damage into a Hulk is your answer. Rez comes right back from Chuckles as Valentina is going to be on that rocket. Stinkers with a mean ult there onto Delena. Great positioning is going to find one, and they're trying to break through and press forward. But again, 100 Thieves doing a decent job of holding. Ults are going to be up slightly for 100 Thieves. Dreamland building and taking the space. Vinny going to launch that Groot hug, and it does find one as Jibbery goes down. Good positioning there. Millennia on the Star-Lord off that strategist roll is clearly looking pretty good right now. Has not fell once and does have that ult available if ready and necessary. And there's not a lot of answers for it on their team right now.
Yeah, the change up at the moment is that they can at least deal with these off angles. It was really just sort of Vinny before. Now on Groot, Millennia is the one kind of dealing with him. And in the sky, he commits already an early ultimate. Does get brought in by a Sonic Seduction and also the extra damage from the See You Later.
Yeah, unfortunate timing there. If that ult was used just a little bit early, there would not have been an answer, but it is now able to be matched twice. Terra going to find Valentina. Chime takes out Harvey. Terra again onto Mace here on this Phoenix, looking insane at the moment. Dreamland just trying to get their footing back the way it had it before, and they are looking like they have the space. This is a very strong push so far, but now turning this corner is where it gets dicey, and that is a pick there on a Jibbery by Terra, and here comes the whale. Does that land? It does not. Good positioning as they walk back and try to find a few more.
Yeah, Stinkers has been looking for some absolute hero whales throughout the series, but now he's stunned up. Hard pocket onto him from the jet from across the map, but with all the water in the world, unfortunately, Namor still falls.
And that's just a confident play there by TTK in the back line, pressing into a Hulk Namor, excuse me, and still getting a pick through that is either just insane play or some really strong focus by the strat line as they are walked back. Terra, notice, folks, the focus on the squids prior to every fight. That is huge. Look at that squid there. It will be, as I say that, it is deleted now, but the ult's out, so there's no need for focus in that moment. But again, constantly getting deleted in these neutrals. Huge ult here by Vinny. Will this get a few? It does. TTK going to clean up 2 through that as Vinny finds Mace, and there is a minute left here for Dreamland, and again 100 Thieves holding on, and they will have even ults in this next fight, actually slightly up as Mace needs to grow there and Chime does have it. So 100 Thieves doing a great job in these rotations.
This is one of the harder points to fully cap out on Hall Bejalia, at least. It's difficult, especially when the flexibility of one of the support players is they could play Star-Lord, and Delena also played that Luna Snow. Who would have thought we would have seen this out of 100 Thieves? Dreamland now entering last fight territory. Have to make something work. Last time was countered. Terra's also on the flank.
Chuckles just keeping eyes forward, does make that switch there. No more of that team up as Millennia is going to find one with some focus from Delena, who is on that Luna as discussed, getting picked still, has that duelist mindset. Terra onto Chime. Stinkers now onto Terra to trade that back, but numbers should still be up here for 100 Thieves. Chime falls with ultimate. Mace does have that psionic to counter. Does a pretty good job into something like Galactic Legend. Terra is ready here with the end song, and Delena with the dance floor.
They found the Rocket Raccoon BRB, so this kidnap comes out from Stinkers at the very least, but it's met here by that dance floor that you mentioned coming out from them. They slow it down. Sonic Seduction coming out from Dreamland.
Yeah, Psyonix is out right now, and goes the end song. Does not find too much, but Millennia again gonna find a pick out of Valentina. Stinkers now onto TTK, and that is very terrifying to go in to a Wolverine as a Strange, constantly getting pulled around. Valentina gonna be making the switch here, actually goes back and not gonna be making that portal switch just yet, and is gonna be running. Oh, now goes back again to the Strange for the teleport play. Terra gonna find Gibbery, Harvey onto Chuckles, Terra again onto Maze. The portal likely will come through here, should be enough time, but we'll see if they can get the touch. As they do, Chime buys them enough time to get in here for OT, but Millennia playing lights out right now is just popping off. Terra, Vinny gonna find two more, gonna spin to win through the portal and hold on before point 3. 100 Thieves stop them before the full push.
And well, I guess, you know, the best DPS players, the best duelist players sometimes are the best strategist players too, right? Like we saw, how many times you mentioned, like the clap came through from Delena, finds the pick off on Luna Snow of all things, the collapse through with Millennia. And like you said, it might have been panic too. Like they didn't even need to do that. But still, great work from 100 Thieves to close out. Now, the problem is Dreamland did make it quite far. Hall of the Joy is always a 3rd point map. I think most of the time that 1st and 3rd point kind of gets dicey. We haven't seen too many teams get stronghold in the 2nd phase unless they're like really a way better team than their squad. So for 100 Thieves, they got some choices, right? They still hold them in the 3rd phase, but Dreamland got quite far, Ship.
Yeah, I think honestly the win condition here for 100 Thieves is to get to point 3 and make a portal play with TTK and shut that down and give them a free takeover of point 3, giving them the win. It's all about getting there now and having that cooldown ready. TTK trying to make that happen on Yggdrasil, and again, it's a strategy that we saw early in the early seasons, but it buys you enough time, especially when you don't have full push like that, to essentially get a free win on point 3. It's all about if they can win one big fight, and he gets that off successfully. But we'll see if that comes through. Maybe we'll see an early portal play here, again bringing us back to some of those older strategies.
And they're putting Gibbery over to that Jeff too, by the way. So switching off of Chime on the Gibbery for that hero is the change up that Dreamland want to make. And this is the interesting thing is I think both these teams aren't necessarily playing what we expected, right? At the current moment, we got that name war comp from Dreamland, and the 100 Thieves are going to continuously play around their Phoenix alongside having, you know, different sort of Jeff players in Millennia. Maybe we'll see on this defense how it works out.
And we'll start once more. Terra on the high side. Gonna, again, focus those squids. Always a priority. Make sure you're taking that advice into ladder. I promise you it will help you into this team up. Terra finding Stinkers immediately. This is lights out play. Hyper aggro with the portal exactly as described. The portal play working as Vinny just holding the whole team back, burning those cooldowns to stay healthy. Great focus by Millennia there. And now still owning this space. 90 charge already available here for TTK. Is going to try to expel that dark magic on the front line, not going to get too much value, and here goes the tackle right onto Terra, who's able to hold on here. Ton of damage goes out from Millennia. Terra finds Mace. They're dealing a ton of damage with that melee cancel at the moment, finding the pick with the left click after the fact. TTK focusing now heavy onto Stinkers, who takes that height, deals a ton of damage, and down goes Chime. And again, 100 Thieves through this portal early on, making a huge play and might actually take this point. There goes that cancel, and that's the downside to Rocket when that is available. And Phoenix is out on the table, and that should be enough for them to get this point. It is.
Yeah, this goes back to Terra. I mean, finding the pick off on to Stinkers. You know what? Like, they lose all their damage. He also has to come back on Doctor Strange, even though they get those grabs and, you know, have everybody there. Where's the damage, right? Stinkers is pretty much the solo king of the comp, right? And it's tough losing him that early. He thought, I believe, they maybe had the resurrect. Valentino was playing Rocket Raccoon. Maybe with the BRB, he would come back, but maybe Vinny found that BRB early. It doesn't show up in the KO feed, or the BRB was too far away from where Stinkers went down. So tough situation to be in, considering that was the saving grace for Dreamland, is if Stinkers got rezzed.
Yeah, 100 Thieves took that attack personally. They do have 4 ults available. Dreamland will be close to match, actually, with 5 here shortly. We'll have a slight advantage. It's all about this fight now. There will be a ton of Qs being popped. We see an early Psionic Seduction here from Mace. Down under the ground goes Millennia. Will that land? It's going to instead use it to force out a ton of cooldowns and not even going to worry about it. That is enough of a success there. But out is immediately committed here from Harvey with the boundary. But they're going to keep it rolling, I guess. TTK onto Chime and Stinkers and Maze. I thought that was a bit of an overcommitment, but I was incredibly wrong as we see 100 Thieves find 4. TTK, an absolute demon on the Strange, showcasing why this hero is very much still in the meta. What a play there by TTK and Harvey.
Yeah, huge plays, and You know, that Jeff, like you mentioned, is bot eyes, right? At the moment, the ult necessarily sometimes can get hard counter, but that might be worth it if you just, you know, bait out Ultron's range in that case. Now Dreamland has to come back. Not a lot of time left, too, for them to retouch, as if the 100 Thieves get to third phase, they'll have 5 minutes on the clock.
That would be insane. Again, I thought 3 minutes and 30 was a ton. Terra going to find Chime with a melee, likely on that high side, waiting for that play. Out goes the Eternal Bond, walking backwards. Under goes Millennia once more to try to escape. Jabori's ready. With that, it's Jeff, and it is available. Chuckles as well on the Hulk. TTK already has Eye. Will this again find value as Valentina forces out that cloak, which is a cooldown that can very much stop Strange. So I'm sure that is being communicated to Lena. Is going to be on that Star-Lord now. Again, he talked about the switch of the duelist and strategist. Looks like Lena's now owning that Star-Lord, and that switch has come back full circle. Up goes Terra, coming down with the end song. That does not get a pick.
Yeah, Delena's been on that flank pretty much the entire time. Ayabagamotto comes out from TDK, able to get it off like you mentioned. Also brought in on the main side is the Hulk, and Delena finds Stinkers.
How is Chuckles still holding on in that moment? Down goes Chuckles there. I was going to say, that was a ton of damage out there, and good focus by TTK to essentially just counter the Hulk in that moment, who can no longer use bubble when popping ult. So that is the answer. Delena going to find Valentina, TTK out of Chime, and they will get point 2 here with more time than Dreamland. The question is, will they be able to push through and end this, or will Dreamland bounce back on the defense much like 100 Thieves did?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and find out. I mean, Dreamland, this is the scariest spot you could be in, right? Yeah, going against the 100 Thieves, who now swap Millennia back over to that Luna Snow, right? He's on that 2-2-2 against your 2-2-2, right? But except you have the Jeff alongside the Cloaking Dagger, just using a bunch of, you know, main healing, not having the Invisible Woman out like 100 Thieves does, who can constantly set up things with that Force Physics and shut down Stinkers, in this case, on that Wolverine.
Yeah, and there are some switches. It's exactly what we saw. Oh! What a tackle out of the sky. Are you kidding me? Delena goes down. Chime going to commit the Galactic Legend there. And Delena immediately going to make that switch over to Warlock after that tackle. What a play there by Stinkers.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I feel like the Star-Lord is definitely a good hero, and I'm a little worried, I think, for 100 Thieves side to not play it. But, I mean... yeah, like we said, I mean, Stinkers, huge pull out of the sky, comes up, gets that grab. He's done it before, too. Now in this upcoming fight, 2 minutes, 50 seconds left on the clock, right? We do have a striking president from Vinny. 100 Thieves pretty much have won most of the time when they have this combination of him and Terra. Can Dreamland do anything against it, right? Can they stall it out? If they Jeff ult, it's going to get Terra ulted, but we'll see, as TDK also has Ayabagamotto to follow this up.
Yeah, this is the tricky position to be in when you're on Groot into a Wolverine with the ultimate available. Stinkers launches that last stand. That's a huge... oh, it gets stuffed there, I believe. Does find one as Jabori goes down. Vinny going to find Chuckles. Numbers in their advantage again. Terra gets tackled, but does drop back using cooldowns and in a very dangerous position. Yes, down goes Stinkers from Harvey with that pick. Make that mace as well. And the 100 Thieves squad is walking now. The question is, can they stop this? Is a portal going to come through? Haven't seen it yet. Terra onto Valentina. Chime onto Terra to turn that back. Numbers even out very close to point here with 2 minutes on.
And we have a meter to go. Oh my God, touches in the nick of time is Chuckles. Stinker's also going to come back onto Psylocke as well. 100 Thieves can't even portal because TTK was still alive on Doctor Strange, so Terra's not going to be in this fight as Dreamland have the 6.
Wow, this is insane. Huge Ayabagamotto opportunity goes out. It does find a bunch as Vinny takes out one. We get another here. Make it 3 as Delena and Terra. Chime falls and 100 Thieves win the map.
I mean, who needs that Phoenix in the fight if you just do that? TTK, you called it out earlier, was a hero on the map for 100 Thieves. 2-1 lead now for the squad. Doctor Strange gameplay has led this team before, and it seems to be doing it again, Shib, as they win and get themselves on map point. Almost there to securing themselves for the playoffs if they were to win this one and then also the next series.
I mean, you gotta, although the MVP was very much sent over there to a well-deserved Terra, 45-6, 23 finals, TTK's eyes. There was 2 just absolutely game-winning eyes that forced a ton of free space on the streets phase, and then on point 3 there, it was so valuable. Strange still showing up in the meta, especially when you don't have something like a Magneto, which was banned out on the side of Dreamland there, unable to have those shields to protect against the eyes. So great banning phase and decision there by 100 Thieves, who may have struggled at first, but bounced back heavy and just kind of walked through on their attack.
And for the side of Dreamland, they got to figure something out, man, because really, we know how good this team, you talked about earlier, how good it is, how good they are on this map. I mean, they were undefeated here for a very good reason. And 100 Thieves just come in and they just, put Terra on Phoenix, put them on really whatever, and you kind of dominate. This has kind of been interesting in terms of the meta development shit that we keep talking about, but it's definitely true. Phoenix, Torch are two heroes that you just can't let the other team probably get in the modern game, right? Just with how much these characters do, and honestly, just how much commitment is going over to this Namor Hulk combination that just really wasn't working out from Dreamland, unfortunately. I mean, it was kind of actually good on attack. It's surprising they didn't do it too much on the defense shit, but for 100 Thieves, I mean, they really just kind of stuffed Dreamland in every single case, and the defense of Dreamland was just absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, it's difficult. I do agree. I think that Hulk Namor team up was working so well for them. I think it was driven away with the changes, and I'm not sure if it was just they weren't confident in the play there, but no matter what, as we look here again, TTK with these huge eyes, we're going to be checking out the MVP, which again, Terra playing lights out. 23 finals is obscene. Next closest being TTK with 12. And 32k damage is by far the most in the lobby, with the opposition reaching at most 26 from Stinkers.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty dominant by 100 Thieves and Terra, and the whole team really coming together, right? I mean, we've seen some change-ups for Delena going over to the Luna Snow. We saw some, Millennia going over to the Star-Lord. There were so many interesting changes that 100 Thieves decided to do, and it just worked out for them in the long run. Now we go back over to Domination map, probably, and at the current moment, 100 Thieves look to have the edge, right? I mean, this team, whenever they get to play Terra onto really any duelist he's comfortable on, I mean, he does exactly what you would expect out of him, just pump damage down range.
Yeah, I mean, I think he made a good call. Some of these duelists in the hands of something like Terra is just too much to handle. So it goes back to the conversation, which is more valuable? You want to get rid of these Vanguards and Strategists, or do you want to try to shut down a little bit of Terra? But again, it's just, what do you give them? I think the Torch and Phoenix maybe are a little too much. Bucky was clearly counterable. They were able to get around that on Domination, made him switch off the Bucky. So maybe that's the thought process. Again, it's so difficult to be in their minds and to find out what the right solution is, because these teams have so much of a deep hero pool. It's very, very tricky, but we will see if 100 Thieves can close this out, or if Dreamland can push this to Game 5 right after this break. Welcome back, everyone. Game point here for 100 Thieves against Dreamland. Dreamland has looked very good, but they kind of crumbled there on the defense. You and I are trying to figure out what the solution might be, and I'm not sure there is one, but you looked a little bit at this upcoming map. What does it look like in terms of percentages? Who may take this one?
I think, to be honest, 100 Thieves, right? They've won this map before. There's not a lot of sample size. It's a big problem, I think, with the group stages, right? It's also like, you know, patches or not patches, you know, teams figuring out the meta. Same thing with the ban phases, right? That kind of enact it. But from what we've seen earlier, right? The biggest thing is that I think 100 Thieves at points look kind of like they show it a little bit, right? When we talk about domination, right? Dreamland shouldn't have done that well in domination, but they did, right? And now going into it, kind of similar situation, right? Dreamland theoretically shouldn't do that hot on domination, but also 100 Thieves side, right? Maybe something is possible for the other squad, right? For Dreamland, we'll kind of see how it goes, but this is their pick, and you know, honestly, I would favor them a little bit in terms of figuring it out, just because eventually they should notice that you can't give, you know, Terra the torch. You can't give him the Phoenix.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. It's clearly working for them. This is back-to-back now. Terra popping off here on these MVPs with insane stat lines, almost doubling the opposition in terms of finals. Granted, Stinkers had 15 on that last matchup, but we will be getting into the banning phase here. I'm curious to see if that will come into fruition. Do we see the torch getting removed? And it looks like, at least so far, it's going to be the same old story here, where they are going to remove TTK's opportunity to play Emma.
Yeah, they want to put Mace on Emma, have that matchup, but it hasn't mattered too much. I think on map number 1 it did, but also, you know, after the few maps where Dreamland's, you know, had that uncontested Emma Frost, it hasn't mattered, because it's like you said, he's flexed over to things like the Doctor Strange, which is protected this time around. Making kidnaps are always a problem, and then Dreamland protects the Jeff again. So they've not changed it up, Chip, and this is my biggest problem, I think, with this team at the current moment, and a lot of teams that make this mistake. It feels like they're not dynamic enough with their ban phase, right, or the draft phase. 100 Thieves are changing it up a little bit, right? They want to mix it up slightly. But already, I mean, we're seeing some prioritization towards the strategist, in which last time we saw the Jeff stuff not necessarily be the focal point of Dreamland. At least it was shut down by 100 Thieves in their side.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I think 100 Thieves have done very well. There hasn't been a ton of value in the Jeff, or to be honest, even when they're playing the Jeff. It did force out a ton of cooldowns on the side of Millennia there on the streets phase of their attack, so that was huge. I do think they committed a ton of ults expecting that to come through, which we've seen some of the top Jeffs do, essentially just launch ult, use the healing, and then just go away and set yourself up for more healing after the fact, forcing out whatever cooldowns they may be using to counter you. But again, yeah, I just haven't seen it be that valuable on really either side. It's just not sure it's worth that. Again, I think Dreamland, an incredibly strong team, but maybe getting that coaching front, you know, a couple more resources, some of these things that allow them to help with the banning phase may be massive for them in the future.
For sure, you're right. Because, I mean, if you think about it too, like, yeah, you get the Emma Frost, but just from like a strategic standpoint, you know, you're banning out Jeff, you're banning out Mantis, you're banning out the triple comps. 100 Thieves don't even care about playing that, first of all. Second of all, when you play these Jeff comps, it's been hard for you to even keep Mace alive sometimes, right? Like, it doesn't matter how much Mace is doing on, for example, the Emma Frost, if he's just outmatched on the front line in terms of healing, right? So their prioritization of the hero bans in terms of strategists coming out from 100 Thieves onto Dreamland, but at least they've banned out the torch this time, Ship. That's something. That's a change up, I suppose, for Dreamland's side, but it might be a little too late in the upper bracket as 100 Thieves look to close out versus Dreamland and send them down to those lowers.
Yeah, it's a pretty scary comp in terms of raw poke here on the side of 100 Thieves. But again, I personally think this comp isn't horrible for them. It's tricky with the backline strategist when you are running that Ultron and thinking about what else you could pepper in terms of healing on that front, especially when Mantis is removed. So, but their poke comp is disgusting. They've got Warlock in there. They do have Ultron, and they will have the Phoenix. So all of that combines raw damage is wild. It'll really shut down some things, like those Groot walls will be deleted if the team has the right focus. But like you're kind of mentioning, it does force them to struggle a bit on the healing front, though you mentioned that more so for Dreamland. I think that's the only tricky part I have with some of these comps here run by 100 Thieves is they really got to play heavy poke, and once these sustained fights start, it's tricky for them. They don't have a lot of answers for that. So on domination, I feel like it typically lends itself to having more of those sustained fights. So I'm just not sure how well it's going to bode for them, but 100 Thieves has been insane, so we'll see.
As they pick it up now, Dreamland got to go over back to their original composition. They get out that Loki alongside that Rocket Raccoon yet again for a very evasive backline, but 100 Thieves wanting to play this front-to-back style. Kidnap coming from Chuckles again.
And as I mentioned, not having sustained Millennia, he's going to make that switch over to Luna to make that answer immediately, or, you know, get shut down there. So the switching comp already coming through. A huge tackle here is going to find value as Chuckles goes down. Terra on the Wolverine. Saw a lot of that early on in Ignite Stage 1, and now it is back again. Potentially one of, if not the best Wolverine in the game. Mace falls 2, as we will see this come back. Lena on the hit scan. Terra again, back and forth with these duelists, looking like I said, stage 100 Thieves at this moment, just walking them down.
Yeah, I don't think Dreamland expected Mr. Terra to be on the Wolverine. That was terrifying for sure. And, you know, they get the kidnap, but at the end of the day, they've kind of kidnapped their own point percentage away from them. 100 Thieves still have that objective. Delena also goes over to the Ultron off of the Phoenix. That's going to be interesting, I think, in the long run. Not sure if we've seen the Ultron alongside the solo duelist Wolverine. Moving forward, though, Dreamland do not and haven't prioritized the Invisible Woman ship. That's been something that's not been in their mind, and that kind of allows Terra to get so much more value consistently. Nothing's really countering him besides the Magneto on Wolverine.
As we start up once again, Vinny is going to have that Strangling Prison available. The Groot hug, if you will, if you are my friend Cozy. As we start up again, there it is. Does find one, but can they collapse? Doesn't look like they can. Chuckles, as I say that, does fall relatively quickly. Good focus there with some good walls to buy them enough space. Huge last stand from Terra on a Chime, and those even one trades. If you find one with an ultimate, that is plenty. You do not need full stack ults. I believe that is one of the bigger struggles from folks who are trying to climb the lower side of the ladder. They think they need to find a 5-piece with every ultimate. One is plenty of value, or even forcing out cooldown. CTK finds another Vinny onto Chuckles, and 100 Thieves are already at 80%.
Yeah, this has been an absolute snowball from 100 Thieves' side. I mean, Dreamland might have won the first domination, but in this case, I don't know what you do versus 100 Thieves when they're this free at the current moment. You have 10% to go. You can't touch because Doctor Strange isn't picked up for the squad. They're going to make it dicey, but you at least have ultimates to work with.
So owning the space at 99% now. It's all about one alt fight for them. Dreamland trying not to commit too much and still get the point here, as Chime immediately going to put that Song Inferno out. Valentina going to launch with this TTK, though, going to find one. Delena onto Chuckles. Even through these alts are making it happen. Valentina going to res that Stinkers, who is back in the fight again, holding on to the point. And there is that Strangling Prison and a double follow-up once more. Make it 3. Why don't you? As Terra gets another. It's all about cleaning up the point now, and 100 Thieves are going to get this job done very quickly.
Wow. I mean, that was a dominant performance from 100 Thieves. If we take a look at the stats after this, you're not going to see many elims going on to their way. I mean, we saw Delena go down once, and then maybe like somebody else went down, but they kept focusing the vanguards of 100 Thieves, and the pocket was just there from, like you mentioned, with Delena. I mean, only one. It was literally at the very beginning, and it took 3 people to take him down. So not exactly the best, start for Dreamland.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a compositional change up here. We are going to have that cap, with the Freedom Charge to help bide a little bit more time on point, as we see Chime now on that Ultron. There is going to be a shift a bit in composition now. It's a bit of more of an open map as we start once more. But yeah, I mean, 100 Thieves, there was no contest right there.
This is the interesting part of 100 Thieves, is like they have close series and then they eventually just kind of do this, right? Like this was their losses in their group stages. Like they would lose too early, right? They would lose like a map early or whatever, and then they would just come back, and then on the third map when it was like 1-1 tied, they would just dominate. And it was like they were just playing with their food. Like this team somehow, like I don't know what it is, but they just sandbag early and then just crush their opponents. But Dreamland still have a chance here. And I mean, it doesn't exactly bode well that 100 Thieves have, ults to work with.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As here we go once more. Chuckles going to try to put some pressure on that back line and force them to not just allow those pocket front line to do whatever they want. And here goes the play on to the side of, Chime's up in the sky on the left side, just owning this position. A pretty decent place here. You talked about Ultron not always having the best maps. There are some decent angles here, but Terra just going to walk through, find 2 instantly. That is crazy. Going to dodge that that immediately and find another wide open two. Wow, what a play there by Terra as Delena gonna clean up Chuckles. TTK on a Mason. Oh my goodness, make it a quadra there. That was insane play. You see a little smirk on his face, trying to act like he didn't just do that on camera. That was clean.
That was clean. That's why we talk about him in some of the categories of best duelist in the game. Just kind of does it himself. Did cost his ult, obviously, but still took down 2 immediately. And 100 Thieves in a good spot now. Dreamland have to keep this up, right? They have to come back into it. A problem for them earlier is they looked a little nervous at points, and 100 Thieves definitely looked locked in.
Yeah, I agree. It's ever since they lost that first map, they've looked like a brand new team. Only some small struggles, but outside of 1 or 2 fights, they always seem to come back and roll for a few fights in a row. Dreamland, an incredibly strong team. I think just a little bit of a mentality, morale, or maybe even momentum shift right now. They need to try to work on and get that back, as that early Psionic is not going to be able to find too many walking, and there is the close off here, trying to find value onto Mace, who does fall. Good focus there by 100 Thieves, who used that Strangling Prison on one target and just make sure that pick goes through, and one target's more than enough. Again, like we had discussed, and again, 60% no touch here for Dreamland, and down in ults as Stinkers is forced to ult.
He's like in a 1v3 right now, and he's trying to get rid of these people on point. This is the, oh my goodness, he goes down to Terra 2, waste of an ult, unfortunately. And Dreamland, their route to success on map number 1 was through Stinkers, right? He was a big reason why Dreamland looked good. And honestly, same thing with the qualifiers. They looked even better, Dreamland did, in the qualifiers. That's why we're talking about them as one of the top teams, because Stinkers was pretty much Psylocke one-tricking and was just crushing people. But now on Phoenix, and now that he's met his match on Terra, 100 Thieves are really trying to close out on Dreamland pretty convincing fashion.
Wow. Really smart play there by TTK. Ton of damage out onto the front line. Vinny gonna find Mason again, folks. This is a dicey position. This is the most lights out play by a team in domination we have witnessed in a long time. No mistakes here, and just constant value in picks. The portal has to come through. The touch comes through, but now likely down in numbers, and there goes Chuckles' portal. Will they be able to commit? They're gonna try to stand in front. Stinkers is gonna find Terra, though. That might be enough of a momentum shift they need to keep this moving forward. TTK gonna put eyes on Jabori, who goes down. Mace finds Harvey, though, to try to trade this. There goes another Strangling Prison from Vinny, which is unable to get too much value yet. Delena going to take out Chime in the sky. Stinkers onto Delena to even that again. And I believe Dreamland now are going to hold on as Chuckles takes out Millennia. No real strategist to keep the team up as Harvey's coming back. But TTK's committing either way. Finds a few in the back line. Not able to make that happen through the Strange Shield, but a great idea. But still a lot of commitment for a fight that they might have been down on. But you know what? Coming in again, Terra going to find Valentina on the off angle. And even though they gave up point, the numbers are roughly even again.
They are. I mean, maybe you could pick off somebody here, but the even point and the flip comes through from Dreamland. If they win this close fight, that bode well for moving forward, because Harvey commits that invisible boundary.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of commitment when being down in numbers. I think they just wanted to end it quickly, feeling confident, but them doing that may have put them in a disadvantageous position here, as Stinkers has ult, Chuckles has ult, and there's nothing really on the answer as Terra goes down there from Chime.
Yeah, nice job from Chime. That's definitely huge moving for them. And at the moment, you know, you put Chime over to that Ultron. He deals with him on the sky. Delena sure finds one. But as long as they're only getting one, that's what matters, right? The problem is in previous fights, for every one you get, it just felt like 100 Thieves were getting multiple. Finally, Stinkers getting online. Maybe something is going to get started for Dreamland.
Yeah, I mean, this is that momentum shift, right? Like, this is, it's starting to look like a team that's coordinated again. Oh, we're just going to go right to the back line here and play aggro on the spawn. And that is a crazy smart play. Stinkers goes down. That is genius here. Coming in again, up in numbers. Stinkers going to have to res back. No way to get here quickly. Is going to switch immediately over to the Wolverine and try to get back fast with some of those dives. But again, up in numbers. They got to make a play now. 100 Thieves needs to make something happen. Ult advantage up for Dreamland, but 100 Thieves is closely on that tail, as TTK and Vinny are almost there. Millennia, Harvey, Terra, all of them available at this moment now. Up goes the commitment from Terra, who gets stuffed pretty quickly. There is that Strangling Prison from Vinny, who keeps finding success with that. Will they be able to focus through? They cannot. From through the Ultron, keeping them up on the side of Chime. Good focus there. Delena now going to try to put some focus out. Terra cleans up Chuckles again, up a number, make that 2. As Delena finds Valentina, Terra onto Mace. Getting back at 90% here for Dreamland. Both portals being used. Vinny onto Stinkers. Delena finds Chime, and that is a very rough here for Dreamland. That could be the end, and 100 Thieves could have put them down on the lower side bracket. They do.
Wow, that was incredible by 100 Thieves, and like we mentioned, Shiv, that is how they always do it. It feels like the last map of the series for 100 Thieves is just them pedal to the metal, not even giving the other team a chance, right? Like, that was just dominance from start to finish. Maybe there were some times when you thought Dreamland would come back, right? They had some bright spots, but again, Gibbery going down, unfortunately, is a pretty big deal, right? On the Jeff, you need that at least ultimate later on in the fight. Just goes down for free without even using his ult, and tough spot for Dreamland. They have some bright spots, but we already know the one who shines brightest is Terra in 100 Thieves, because they're moving into the second round, and Shiv, that means every single favorite today won.
Yeah. I mean, we had a couple series that at least pushed an extra game each, but yeah, I mean, it was very decidedly in the favor of the higher seed all day today. And I mean, we got to say it, 3 consecutive MVPs here from Terra is wild, as 100 Thieves press forward in the bracket, making their dreams ever closer to going to Atlanta and consistently being in these lands, which, is an insane experience. It was so much fun being there in the past with you, buddy. I know these teams want it more than anything, and a team that's been there and is confident in these intense situations shows up once more and moves closer to getting there again.
Yeah, this team is looking good and proves that you can never really doubt them, right? I mean, I've predicted against them like every single time, and every single time they win. So, 100 Thieves at the moment look to be one of those good teams, one of those great teams even in North America. Maybe they can actually get a repeat of making that grand finals. There's going to be some fun games tomorrow, man, because these two teams, or every team that's played today as the first seed, I mean, at worst, they dropped a single map, right? So because all these games were not necessarily not close, but I mean, because they were all pretty dominant for the winning team, this kind of bodes well for tomorrow's semifinal matches as Terra takes home yet another MVP.
Yeah, I mean, 21 finals, another 20-plus final game, 14K damage there on the Dom, and you got to include the fact that, that first map was incredibly quick, so not a lot of window there to deal damage. Vinny with the most damage in the lobby at 15-9. Vinny playing really well today, too. Great shout-out by you, some huge plays by TTK and the backline, and we've even seen Millennia on Duelist. There's been so much shifting of this team. So curious to hear how they handle that, but wow, what a play.
Yeah, I mean, this team is looking good at the moment. 100 Thieves look to go against, I'm going to real quick do a quick glance over. They're going to go against the side of Envy, man. So we get to have that incredible matchup again tomorrow. And Envy also dropped the map, right, to Sentinels. And they, on their side of the bracket, had some tough games versus FlyQuest, resulting in Fly getting the #1 seed. On the opposite side, it was 100 Thieves in the group stages to get the #1 seed. So right now, looks like the group stages were very, very even across the board, considering both or every team that got the 1 and the 2 seed won today, and none of the underdogs won.
Yeah, I mean, if you're betting, man, that's where you put the odds, right? As we are going to be heading into our interview. Again, what a unique performance. This team just woke up like the Hulk. What is going on, Vinny? Good to see you, buddy. We were gassing up some of those plays today. How you been?
Oh, I'm good, man. Feeling great after that.
Love it. I mean, you had a lights out performance. We saw some of those huge Venom plays today. Again, we showed you some love for some of those early neutral picks you were finding. I mean, the first question I have to ask out of just curiosity is, your team was all over the place and having people in different roles, but I'm curious, who decides who goes where? Is it led, or is it more of a team decision?
I mean, it's more of just practice has told us like what each person should play. So Millennia, our support player, he was primarily a DPS player like up until China when he had to get put in for support. He had 0 practice time on support, and he's improved tremendously since China. So like on that Holiday Jolly map, we needed to swap quick. He went Starlord and he played lights out.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a very impressive series, and this is kind of, I don't know what your take is on it, Vinny, because it feels like every single time you guys, early maps sort of have this back and forth of the team you're playing against, but then on the last map, it's just like you guys crush them. Like, is there a flip that gets switched, or is it like, what is the difference maker on these last maps? You guys always seemingly just dominate the team on the last map that you play.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like maybe nerves, just like first game of the day. We just got off a warm-up, and then once everybody like settles down, calms down, and also when we learn what they like to play, right? It's all about downloading people. And I felt like our last draft, that last map, they were completely downloaded.
That's a great way to put it. And again, kind of piggybacking off that question, You talked about how dominant you were on the last map. It seems that in the first map, you guys always struggle. What are the comms like to shift the momentum? Because when you guys bounce back from those first maps, you look like a whole new, refreshed team that is just constantly dominant.
Yeah, I don't know. We got to get out of this habit of just losing first map and then playing well all the other ones. It's a really bad habit. So I want to blame Coach Remix for that one. But like honestly, it's just telling ourselves like it's okay. It's one map. Like the one map we played horrible and it went 99-99 round 3.
Yeah.
It's not like we got shit on like the whole time.
No, it was close. It was definitely a banger. And you know, I think for you guys, Vinny, too, like since you guys qualified, by the way, for the midseason last time, and then coming into it, you know, I think it was interesting in the offseason for 100 Thieves and your guys' like sort of offseason changes. But more importantly, I think coming into it, what is the biggest thing in the draft phase that you've noticed, Vinny? That's like the difference between stage 1 and 2. Like, what is, in your opinion, the biggest change coming into like Rivals Esports, into Ignite series, comparing it to like the last stage? Because you guys just, you know, had experiences going to the grand finals last time too.
I mean, it just comes down to like a lot of people think the triple support is just hard meta this season. So like back in the other stage, they weren't banning these like random off supports that do damage a lot. Like Ultron was never really banned, only for Torch. Adam, Jeff is like one of the strongest supports right now, which probably a lot of people like to see. So it just depends. I mean, right now, I think the shift is either you ban supports or you target.
Awesome.
Like Mace.
Great
Mace is absolutely terrified of TTK on Emma, so they got to ban it every single game. So he has, I mean, Envy does that too. I'm just saying, they're a little scared.
Let's take the mirror back.
I always talk about when you're forced to ban someone out, it's a huge advantage. So clearly, you know, it's something that you guys are able to work with. It gives you one up. But again, great answers across the board as always, Vinny. You're super easy to talk to, great at this, PR trained. But real quick, giving you the floor. Anything you want to say, call out, thank. Now's your time, buddy.
I mean, I just want to thank my brother back home, always supporting me. He watches the games with my nephew every day. And then shout out my mom.
Awesome, man. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, buddy. I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it. Vinny played really, really well.